So, welcome again to the Symposium Funktionalism and Bauhaus in the Bauhaus reuse here on Ernst-Reuter-Platz. The symposium is part of the Triennale der Moderne, I don't translate that, a weekend in Berlin 2019, and also part of the Bauhaus Festival, Bauhaus Emancipation Education Exchange. This is a festival we are doing together with the Goethe Institute and with partners from Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic. The Czech Republic. Yeah, there was too much Czechoslovakia in this preparation because we were always talking about the interwar period, and there's of course Czechoslovakia. So I'm completely mixed up. I'm sorry. The Czech Republic and Germany, and with 3 locations in Prague, in the in the National Gallery in Prague, in Ostrava, also in the Czech Republic, in the corner of Poland, Slovakia, and Czech Republic, and here finally in Berlin in the Bauhaus reuse. I'd like to take the chance to introduce my co-curator for this Bauhaus festival, beside also Marek Pokorny from Ostrava, Helena Dudova. She's curator of the architecture collection of the National Gallery in Prague. And myself, I'm Robert Huber. I'm, so to say, the director here of the Bauhaus Reuse and managing partner of Zukunftsgeräusche GbR. We are the architects and also the operators of this new center here on Ernst-Reuter-Platz. And I'd like the chance also to introduce my colleague Peter Winter, my office partner. He's not here at the moment. He's probably doing something good for the whole event today, organizing something around, but you will get to know him later. Yeah, I think we're like starting here in a smaller round. That's also kind of a idea that we all sit around together on a. It's not a round table; it's a rectangular table, but it's the idea of a round table, and we will start with. A lecture by Helena Dudova, but before I introduce Helena, I would like to make some general remarks about the 2 days topic, and about also maybe a little bit about the 2 festivals we are part of. So we can do this together if you want. So then I would maybe say something about the Triennale, and you would say something about the Bauhaus Festival, and then I would say something about the soup and so on, and the drinks and how we go on, and then I introduce you, and then you. Okay, good. Okay, so then then maybe you start with the Bauhaus Festival, what it's about, and.
This is an initiative we started with the Goethe Institute in Prague, who's concerned with Central Europe and 100 years of Bauhaus in Central Europe. We kind of did a tour on the different Bauhaus venues with a group of researchers, curators from the region, and then out of it we developed a program of various programs and formats. Starting with these like twin symposia, there is an installation of the Bauhaus windows called Bauhaus Twins in Ostrava, in Plato Ostrava, which is placed there by Robert, and that installation is placed there for the whole year. So there's like this interesting story that the Plato Ostrava is actually located in the former Bauhaus do-it-yourself market. So we have like this contrast of the Bauhaus do-it-yourself and the sort of original Bauhaus windows from the Bauhaus Dessau.
It's like a kind of a joke what you can't do here in Germany, but what you can do obviously in the Czech Republic. So and it's said that it's the first home improvement market opened after the fall of the Iron Curtain on the former East Bloc.
And the building is being reused, like just the sort of shell of the building is being reused for an art Kunsthalle or an art gallery. Then we have, then there is these two symposia. One was on emancipation in Berlin, in this on like female and architecture. One was in Berlin in this like more political and societal context, with organized with TU Berlin, with the Faculty of Gender Studies, Professor Sabine Hark, and the second symposium we have in Prague on the 31st and 1st of November. It's organized in collaboration with the TU Dresden, with Professor Mary Pepczynski, in Prague we had Mr. Volker Stab, who was speaking about the new Bauhaus Museum, and to confront it with a functionalist perspective, we also had Sabine Hein speaking about Karl Teige, the theoretician and architecture and art theoretician, and as well we had a preview of the Bauhaus virtual reality, which was also done by Robert. Yeah, so I think that's the Bauhaus. It's a series of events. Also in Ostrava, there are summer schools on the Bauhaus, and
the virtual Bauhaus you will also be able to experience here, maybe later in the break. It's a virtual tour through the Bauhaus Dessau, and also like initiated by the Goethe Institute. But maybe just like some remarks about the Bauhaus Festival, what the idea behind was. The Goethe Institute, actually, I think Jakob Racek figured that in all these preparations there was not so much a focus on the Central European context. And so the idea that, and I think it was the protagonists we invited first had really confirmed that there is quite a big interest, there is quite a large variety of actors, but it's not so much understood that there is actually a relevant cradle or a major cradle of this modernism actually based on this Central European context. And I think this was quite true, like throughout the whole Bauhaus year, there was not so much about, there was some of course, conferences, but it like in the main focus, the Central European perspective was a little bit neglected, and I think this was like the main driver for the Goethe Institute to initiate it, and also to build it on such a bottom-up level. So we're really sitting together over 1 year, and then in the end, these relocations and these events emerged out of that. So the basic idea, and maybe you read it in the program, is also like to confront these developments of modernism, of functionalism in the interwar period in Czechoslovakia and in Central Europe, with the development in Germany, and also with the societal development of the time, with the founding of the modern states like the Weimarer Republic and the Czechoslovakian Republic, and also to question or mainly as a main focus to question what was the different reception of that, what was the different kind of identification with the functionalist movement and also with modernism in the Central European countries, and why it can be said that there is a difference in this reception in Germany, and also in compared to Czechoslovakia of those days. And we took that topic, and as we were planning this symposium, why we're here today, and what we want to ask today is not only our question is not only the interwar period, but also like the time after the Second World War, the post-war period, where we had in East and West Germany a quite similar Bauhaus debate, yeah, like a debate about functionalism, like on the West German side, initiated by this polemic text from Rudolf Schwarz. And on the eastern side, we had this kind of backlash, I would call it, from neoclassicist architecture. And what we can read very well in the book from Andreas Schätzke, from Bauhaus to Stalinallee, but we will have a very interesting insight to that case by Thilo Hilpert tonight. So, and what we want to do is like also to ask, okay, why is it was happening like that in the post-war times in the 50s, and also want to compare it. We want to compare it to the Czechoslovakian discussion. We assume there was a different perception also in the post-war period, and but I think that's how far we will go with our contributions today. So for our final discussion in the evening, we will maybe have to jump in the 70s and talk about this taking up the heritage then again, also like in East and West Germany. And I'm curious to learn about the Czechoslovakian, the Czech perspective on that. And and then somehow we will probably end here in 2019. So that would be maybe the idea of the agenda for today. And in between we will have Simone Hein, and she will do a kind of a Begriffsbestimmung functionalism, so a definition of functionalism. We're very curious on that as well. So that may be about the 2 days agenda. Let me just say some few words about the Triennale der Moderne, because it's very important to mention that as well, especially in that context, because as this year was mainly about Bauhaus, the Triennale der Moderne is about modernism in a wider perspective, and especially in Berlin, the heritage of modernism is very broad. We managed to get together like around 20 institutions in this Triennale this year, which will perform 115 events. That's a lot, and of course not all of these 115 events will take place on this weekend. So you have this golden program brochure. You will see that there is also events like actually until the end of the year. And the special thing to mention about the Triennale is that it's happening every 3 years, and it's happening not only in Berlin, it's happening in Weimar and in Dessau. Here we have Christine Irgang from the Bauhaus Foundation Dessau. She's the coordinator for the Triennale in Dessau. And we had the opening here in Berlin on Thursday in the Musikinstrumente-Museum, a symposium curated by the Kunstbibliothek by Mrs. Blauert, which was a quite interesting start in the Triennale and already gave a deep insight in this variety and this rich heritage we have here in Berlin. And our today focus is to widen that horizon a little bit more to the Central European perspective. So we're very happy that we are able to do this symposium in this framework of the both festivals. So one founded by the Goethe Institute and by the German Agency for Citizenship Education and the Bundesstiftung Baukultur. And that's for the Bauhaus festival, and the Triennale is this year happening with the support of the Lotto Stiftung in Berlin, the first time, which we are very happy that this was possible to achieve in this network. So that's the short introduction. I'm also doing that in such a short but also like informative way, because I have one more important information. We are recording the whole event today, all contributions. That's also important to know for you because of the new personal data protection law. So it will be, I don't know if that's the right translation, but we will record all that. So it will be also like for our viewers, for later viewers, and for a broader audience, and they need to know what this is about.